or closing down or selling them. So you see a small shift in saturated markets like the United States and Europe. And then there's other markets like Latin America and Asia that is still growing pretty quickly. So I think that 3 to 6% growth for just the core domain market is sustainable over definitely the short to medium term, without putting in any other risk factors like global downturn in the global economy, or a large downturn like we saw in 2008, 2009. But even at that point in time, the domain industry still was able to grow through that downturn. So the domain industry, I think, is very solid. It's almost like it has a large base. It's part of the fabric of everyday society throughout the world, and people are still coming online trying to get that internet presence or creating an internet presence. So I think that industry continues to grow in that small 3 to 5%, 6% range.
All right. Thanks, Mike. So I did want to go back to the cost-cutting efforts that you discussed earlier. You mentioned some possible negative implications that might coincide with these efforts, but what's the timeline if they were to, undergo these efforts? What is the timeline for these sorts of cost-cutting measures?
So, it depends on what they do. I mean, I think, if it were me, and it depends on their quarterly, where they are, if they're being kept private or being taken private, which I think they are, then I could see a good 2-3 year runway to start integrating everything into a cloud. If they're going to integrate and put everything together, they might as well just take it and move it into a cloud system, talk to AWS or Azure, and figure out what's the right setup for us going forward as a company. What's that setup? How does that look? And what does it compare to where we are? And does it make sense? And I think it would make a lot of sense over that 2 to 3 years. Start getting rid of data center costs and other and moving to AWS, which also would help with some bandwidth costs. And also taking a hard look at the acquisitions they made, especially if they don't need a revenue growth. Is Yodel working? It probably provides some nice top line, but is it helping the bottom line? Does it make sense, or is it something that they should sell off since it's not really adding anything to the cash flow? Are there other